Hello, hello, hello. I am interested in philosophy and ethics and empathy and love and metaphysics and compassion and animal rights and all of these things. So, I have been talking to people under the Gary Inmentham video, Draft Science. That's his new channel. That's where he makes videos, and he makes videos in response to other people's videos. And I think I should get into this too. I just don't have editing software, so I'm not gonna, and I don't know how to edit anything here on YouTube either. I'm gonna have to check out what they offer, if there's anything new that they're offering. Would be nice if they could offer some nice editing program, at least a simple one. But anyway, I think it's very, very important that we respond to philosophical videos and that we get into a worldwide discussion on the subjects ethics and compassion and all of these ethic branches of philosophy and psychology as well. So I think this is very, very important that we get into the discussion and that everyone contributes and that we also respond to one another, not just make a monologue and then have that sit there untouched, but be willing to open up to a discussion. I think this is very, Dr. Grande always has at the end of his video, please please reply to add that adds to a nice conversation, but that's not a conversation. I mean, it's nice that we can respond and that he is open for responses, but he doesn't reply. So it's not a conversation because of that. I reply, I mean, unless I don't know how many people comment under his videos, probably too many for him to respond to each comment. But, I think what's really, really, really important is that we try to respond to people and that we also make videos in response. And we had that going very well with the YouTube video response feature that was happening around 2006, 2007, 2008, somewhere around that time, somewhere around 2008 or 2009. YouTube abandoned that. And that's when it was almost like disrupting a stream of ants. It's like taking that opportunity away from people. And I have the feeling they deliberately did this. It was a corporate move. They were paid to do this by the corporations. That's, I'm assuming. I don't know for sure. They were paid a lot of money, okay, to remove that by the corporations. The reason why they wanted that removed, because they observed that real discussions came into the world. Real discussions. Once a stream of real discussions comes into the world, then it becomes very apparent suddenly for anyone who follows these discussions. Becomes very apparent very quickly who has the better argument and who has no arguments at all, who has only insults, and who is the one with the arguments, and who is the one with the actual science and the reasoning and ethics backing it up. So, and the corporations didn't want that. They don't want that to happen. They don't want the public to see who is right and who is wrong, because then they can't sell us their products anymore, or their this world destructive agendas and so on. So it has to do with this, and I think that, just like with every corporation, Google has a lot of infiltrators, and then at some point the infiltrators are running this whole corporation, yeah, in the end. So that makes me very sad. I wonder about Dr. Hauschka. I wonder if Dr. Hauschka is not completely turned over into the the infiltrators, the sociopaths, and they're changing this whole thing from what it originally was. And all of this makes me infinitely sad when that happened. It happened to Greenpeace. It has Paul Watson founded Greenpeace, by the way. And the infiltrators started to come in, and this is also exactly the theme that I want to talk about. So this is the dilemma situation that actually happens in the world. A corporation starts out, or like, let's say, a group of people, a startup company, with real good intentions, or a startup non-profit organization like Greenpeace, started by Paul Watson, Captain Paul Watson, highly, highly ethical person, highly, infinitely caring person, who wants to make the world a better place. And so then in the beginning there were good people in that group and that organization, and they were doing things, and they were also stopping the whale hunters, and they weren't just taking photos or film footage. They were also doing things. They went in between the whale and the whaling ships. They risked their lives. Okay, that's when he met a microcephalus male, the father of the family. And it's infinitely touching and gripping and heartbreaking. So, but I want people to read these stories for themselves. So, and then after many decades, more and more than just within the last 10 years, I would say, that's when it really got bad. When the infiltrators started to come into Greenpeace, I don't know, maybe already for the last 20 years or so. Because at some point, Paul Watson was actually chased out of his own organization that he started because the bad people started to take over. And the reason why is because he had a democratic. So he didn't make himself to be the boss. So now this is a dilemma situation. We can ask, okay, should he have stayed in the total legislation? Should he have never opened up to make this democratic, to make everyone vote on things, and to make everyone bring anyone in who was interested, including infiltrators and saboteurs and corporate vested interest people that only came in order to completely destroy the organization and to make it into something that it wasn't. So kind of like a virus. So I want people to read about this for themselves so that they get informed about what's actually happening. So then Paul Watson founded Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. I hope that they will stay pure and compassionate, and I hope that the corporate vested interest people, the hitmen, the middlemen, and the infiltrators stay out. So, but anyway, this is a dilemma situation. Should he stay in power and stay, if you want to use the word dictator, he's the one that makes the decision. all decisions. He's the one that screens any person that comes and wants to work for them, and he puts them through ethics tests, and he monitors them. He looks over their shoulders, and he has complete control over the situation. Or should he open it up for a democratic system and take the risk? It's not just a risk, it's a guarantee that infiltrators will come in, because the corporate agenda eyeballs everyone and everything. Okay, and when they see that there's a group, or that they even see that there's just one person, and I guess they have spy programs for that, they just see one person using specific phrases, make the world a better place, whatever, saving animals and ethics and all of this, then the spy program kicks in, and maybe sends in some saboteur bots and whatever. So it's happening even on in every niche on the internet now. So we have to expect that to happen. So it's not just worst case scenario, to be prepared, but to know that it's not just a risk, those kind of things, but they are bound to happen. Okay, this is like law of physics. The human ape is a greedy, selfish thing. So, and yeah, like Rockefeller said, every man has his price. I'll add every woman too, but maybe not every single person. Maybe there's, like we've already observed, if we are animal rights activists, which I am, I observe that there are approximately 1% of people that care. Okay, 1% of people that would not betray someone, that would not sacrifice someone else to save themselves, that would not turn someone into the Gestapo, just to save themselves. So it's about 1% of people that deeply care, and maybe just 0.1% of people that will actually risk their lives and go way out of their ways and change their entire lives to save other beings. So maybe 0.1%. That's kind of like what I'm seeing. So I'm not the 0.1%. I am very chicken. I admire people who are like that, who can go out there and rescue animals and even break laws, if that is necessary to save lives from suffering, So I highly value those people, I respect them infinitely much. I love them infinitely much. Okay, those are our rescuers, those are our angels, gods, and Buddhas, and we need to welcome them. But of course, the majority of people don't. The majority of people hate them, and then because the majority hate them, the majority of people are religious, and they use religious morals that are just completely based on religion, and they impose that on the world, and they'll let violent criminals out, and they want democracy where the infiltrators come in. And maybe I'll make part 2 because I think this is very important. Okay, see you later.